We didn't expect a development this big to drop on a random Monday night, but this Katt Williams allegations about Ellen are maybe the biggest yet. There are spiritual things going on in the world, and that there are things that are bigger than just coincidence, and that a ritual is something that you do over and over and over again a certain way. There was always one question people in Hollywood didn't like to answer. How did someone who told the world to be kind and up being described behind the scenes as cold, strict, and even a little scary to work with? That question kept coming up whenever people talked about Ellen DeGeneres. On camera, she was all smiles, dancing, and laughter. But off camera, the stories didn't always match. For nearly 20 years, she ruled daytime TV. The Ellen DeGeneres Show became one of the biggest talk shows in America. Celebrities lined up to be on it. Millions of people watched every day. And her message was simple: be kind to one another. But when the show suddenly ended, the whispers got louder. People started asking what was really going on behind the scenes. And that's where this starts to connect to what comedian Katt Williams has been warning about for years. Do you feel like in Hollywood that there are, I've heard you kind of allude to the fact that there's like kind of darker forces that kind of like, that present opportunities to people in trade-off, right? In trade for their own, maybe their own peace, maybe their own reality, maybe a sacrifice of their actual direction that they want. Do you think that really happens? That kind of stuff? I think everything is controlled and regulated. You think there's ever ways where we can get to the control room and see who's controlling? Do you think that's all we're past that? We're past that, but we don't protect the whistleblower, right? We don't honor the scout that would tell us who it is. Matter of fact, when they get him, we're gonna go, I could have told you that was gonna happen. They were telling too much truth. Do you think Hollywood has a lot of things that they hold against people? I had a theory that a lot of this is human nature, right? So it's not even Hollywood. It's just human nature. It starts as human nature. Katt never played it safe. While others stayed quiet to protect their careers, he spoke openly. He said Hollywood isn't what it looks like. According to him, it's deeply evil and messed up when the cameras are off. If you in the ATL and doing drugs in the ATL, the at least excuse himself, go to the bathroom or some cuz in Hollywood, just do the drugs right in front of you and act like ain't happened. You in the middle of a goddamn meeting. So what we gonna do is we're gonna do the movie with you and then we're gonna go back. Did you know that I can see you? You right there, it's on your nose. Be gay in Hollywood, you. Never expect it. They be having these big-ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited as it'd be at the mansion party. You be looking in all the goddamn rooms, and you around and look in the wrong room and come here. Come here. Is that two kissing? Is one of them Professor Over? He came out the closet? He came out the closet? Oh my God. Who is he claimed the smiles, the kindness, the perfect image? It's all part of the act. So, when stories about Ellen's workplace started coming out, a lot of people remembered what Katt had been saying and started looking at things differently. But Ellen didn't start at the top. She was born on January 26, 1958, in Louisiana. Before fame, she lived a normal life, working regular jobs and trying to figure things out. In the early 1980s, she started doing stand-up comedy in small clubs, performing late at night for small crowds. Then in 1986, everything changed. She appeared on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. After her performance, Carson invited her to sit on the couch. Back then, that meant you made it. This is a good life for a young comedian to appear because you're all in a great mood. This is her first appearance on network television, although she can be seen this month on HBO's Young Comedians special. And she's working at the Improv is Asian in San Diego this weekend. She'll be at the San Francisco Punchline the 3rd through the 6th of December and at the Dallas Improv December the 9th through the 6th to 14th. Would you welcome Ellen DeGeneres? Ellen, thank you. Hi. Good. You feeling good? Me too. Feel great. I've been keeping in shape lately, You have to. I'm getting older. I'm 27. People say, you don't look 27. You look like you're about 23. I'm lucky because that runs in my family. My grandmother is 97. She looks about 93. I have a little nephew who's 4. Doesn't even look like he's born yet. Tiny embryo of a thing. That whole fitness thing runs in my family, though, I think. That my grandmother started walking 5 miles a day when she was 60. She's 97 today, and we don't know where the hell she is. I'm kidding. We know where she is. She's in prison. I'm kidding again, you know. I kid a lot because I'm comedian. From there, her career took off. In the 1990s, she starred in her own sitcom, Ellen. Then in 1997, she made a bold move. She told the world she was gay. At the time, that was a huge risk in Hollywood. Soon after, her show was canceled and some networks stepped away. For a moment, it looked like her career might be over, but she came back. In 2003, she launched The Ellen DeGeneres Show. This time, she returned with a very clear image, someone positive, kind, and full of good energy. At the end of every episode, she repeated the same message, be kind to one another. That message became her brand. The show exploded. She filmed over 3,000 episodes, won dozens of awards, and became one of the most powerful names in television. But behind the scenes, a different story was starting to form. Some former staff members began speaking out. They described the workplace as stressful and tense. One early employee said they were told not to talk to Ellen or even look at her directly. People said they felt like they were always walking on eggshells. If you didn't pitch in her wheelhouse, then she looked at you like you had just stabbed her puppy. And then there was this process of pushing people out of the circle. And you know, you want to be in the circle because there's a lot of fear going on and you're in or out. So there's a lot of it didn't really bother me that much because I'd written on a lot of shows before and I kind of knew what it was like to have tough bosses. You know, I wrote for Bill Maher. Sure. And so I was just tough enough. But then there was these first-time writers they used to cry. There was a lot of crying in the hallways. Wow. Yeah. It just feels like it's not a good energy for a workplace or show. I feel like you're getting less out of people by treating them like that. I think so. Yeah, for sure. I think in the long run, I think in the short run you might get more, but in the long run people get exhausted. You break them. They can't. And then you hit sweeps, which is you're working 12, 14-hour days because it's the ratings months and then nobody can give anything and you hit walls. This former waitress claims she was threatened with a 2-week suspension after Ellen DeGeneres complained about, of all things, her chipped fingernail polish. I remember just being really? Chris Ferrara says it happened when Ellen and Portia de Rossi had Sunday brunch at the high-end vegan restaurant in West Hollywood, where she was waiting tables. But a week later, Ferrara says her boss got an email from the talk show queen. They're like, we have to talk to you. She emailed the owner of the restaurant and complained about your chipped nail polish. What? And I was like, what? Ferrara says in a bid to placate the high-profile celebrity, her boss hit her with a 2-week suspension at no pay. She got so upset, she quit. They were going to suspend me if I hadn't quit for the 2 weeks. What would you say to Ellen? I would say, what is happening in your life that you aren't already busy with the bountiful grace that's happening to your wealth, your influence? Why do you have the time to mess with someone who was just serving you? Do you look at Ellen differently now because of that incident? Oh, absolutely. I mean, before this, I was a huge fan. Like many waitresses in LA, Farrah is also an actress and does stand-up comedy. I don't want to name any names. The waitress's story is just the latest blow for Ellen, who faces accusations of turning a blind eye to a toxic work culture at her talk show, despite her public reputation for being kind to people. Be kind to one another. I felt mostly just sad that Ellen is so rich and powerful, and a female comedian would take her time to hurt someone who she probably guesses is somewhat of a starving artist. I have seen some of the celebrities who came out and been like, well, she was never rude to me. And I'll be like, yeah, you're a rich, powerful celebrity. Well, she wasn't rude to you. I get it. But you aren't someone who's working underneath her. One producer claimed Ellen knew how people were being treated but stayed quiet. According to that account, someone else would act tough and yell while she stood back and laughed. The image on TV didn't match what some people experienced behind the scenes. Then old clips started resurfacing. In one interview, she kept pushing singer Taylor Swift to talk about her dating life, even when Taylor clearly didn't want to. It turned into a game that made things awkward. In another moment, actress Dakota Johnson corrected her on live TV about not being invited to a party. That small moment caught people's attention. It felt like a crack in Ellen's perfect image, but the moment that really stuck with people involved Mariah Carey. During an interview, Ellen joked about rumors that Mariah was pregnant. She brought out drinks and pressured her to take a sip to prove the rumors weren't true. Mariah looked uncomfortable, but eventually gave in. You and I both really know now that Miss Ellen not as nice as she portrayed on TV. Now, the most awkward, uncomfortable, and borderline unethical interview that Ellen did has to be Mariah Carey. Make sure you watch my pop culture paint lesson about Dakota and Ellen to get all of the tea. Mariah Carey was on the Ellen DeGeneres Show in 2008, and Ellen obviously has to pry and bring up the pregnancy rumors that were circulating at the time. She didn't just do that, though. In order to pressure an answer out of her, she made her drink champagne live on TV. The other thing is that people are saying that you're pregnant. There's rumors. Discuss that. All right. Well, you don't have to. No, that's okay. No, honestly, no, you don't have to. Let's just toast with champagne and decide if I can't believe you did this to me, Ellen. What? No, I'm not trying. I'm not going to ask you if you're pregnant because I'm peer pressuring. Do you see what Ellen is doing? This is peer pressure. Now, let's toast to you not being pregnant. If you're not pregnant, then I can't believe, why don't we toast to that? You're pregnant? You're pregnant. Maria didn't want to release that she was pregnant yet because she has had a history of having miscarriages, and it was way too early on. Shortly after the interview, Mariah suffered a miscarriage. She talks all about this in some interviews from 2020 and her book that came out. But that's honestly a very evil thing for someone like Ellen to do with her platform. Mariah continuously brings up that how uncomfortable that moment made her. Whether or not it was real champagne doesn't really matter. It's the fact that she was pressuring her into answering on live TV. When people found that out, the clip didn't feel funny anymore. Was the Be Kind image really the full story? That question didn't go away. And when people started connecting it to what Katt Williams has been saying for years, things started to look different. Katt has always warned that Hollywood knows how to build perfect public images. In his stand-up and interviews, he explains it in a simple way. Some people don't show you who they really are. Instead, they play a role, a carefully designed character. According to him, some spend their whole careers acting like angels, not because that's who they are, but because they're scared of what people might see if the mask slips. And this is where the conversation starts to shift towards something deeper. Katt has claimed that many entertainers feel pressure to change who they are just to fit in. To stay successful, they have to follow certain rules, keep powerful people happy, and never step out of line. In his words, the system rewards those who play along. Do you think there's any artists now that you think are not the same artists that we thought they were? If we're only speaking of biology, I've heard that a man's G-spot is in his anal passage, which means I'm going to go my whole life without ever experiencing it. Yeah. By the same token, everybody is a reflection of what they got to go through to get to where they at, right? And I just know that the people that have been in positions where they decided to do some stuff that they said they weren't going to do, they don't be the same on the other side. Nothing they can do can make them seem like what you remember them as. Have you ever, I call it spiritual because I don't know what else to call it. But yeah, have you ever faced that in your own life where people would try to come at you for offers like that? Do you think that like stars and get offered that kind of thing, like to compromise themselves solely for entertainment? Again, the things that we are discussing exist in each of the fields. Right? Any field, right? Right. Not entertainment exclusively. Politics, religion, science, everywhere, right? Some of this is human nature, right? Right? Because we listen and we don't judge. That's why when stories about Ellen DeGeneres started coming out, some people didn't see it as shocking. They saw it as proof of what Katt had been warning about all along. Because to the public, Hollywood looks bright and polished. You see the smiles, the jokes, the big moments on stage. But behind closed doors, some say it's a completely different world. Man, so how do you know who is... That's part of the game, huh? You don't know. It's part of the game. Yeah, kind of makes it exciting too when you think about it. It can be exciting and depressing. This thing does not happen in yearly cycles. Like, it's not a every 12 months thing. That's not how it works. So the age of truth is not 1 year. It's the beginning of people having more of a thirst for what is true than an appetite for lies. So if you sell lies, it's a harder road for you. If you have truths to tell, people are hungry for that, and they'll pay you handsomely to hear the truth. It wasn't always that way. It's that way right now, in real time, whatever that means to you. That's the battle that's going on. It's people who profit from the manipulation of others by getting you to believe something that's not the case. And that's how they make their living. And it is now a difficult time for those entities. Do you think that there is actual cloning going on? We know that there's actual cloning going on. The question I believe you're asking is human cloning. Oh, yes, sir. But let's start with the real question. The real question is cloning going on? Yeah, it is. I knew it. Yeah, well, I'm saying let's just say animal cloning, right? Let's start there. That's not a myth, or no. That's been known. That's not a conspiracy theory that we are at the point where we have no problem cloning animals. The public sees one version of reality, clean, polished, controlled. But according to voices like Katt Williams, there may be another version, one that stays hidden behind closed doors. Do you think we will ever see it come out? Let us know in the comments below.